back again to, not again, welcome back to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with co-hosts
Stan Morrissini.
And again, this is Watson Bradshaw.
and we're doing a early Sunday morning episode here, and I think you could tell by my opening there. So
Yeah, we're still waking up a little bit.
Yeah, you still haven't introduced yourself.
yeah, exactly, because I am obviously Chad Cook.
Obviously.
Obviously.
No name required.
No
name
name,
required
no
at
name
all.
necessary.
No name necessary. Some things kept come out in the last couple days. And,
Yes.
we last were able to record an episode, and we're going to talk about them today.
Mm-hmm.
I think mainly the one we should get started with, since it does start with an A, is Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
That recently dropped on Disney Plus. And I think we were all pleasantly surprised.
I was
think so.
very surprised.
You haven't watched it yet, Chad?
Not yet, but
Yeah.
feel free to
Oh, yeah.
Well,
cover
yeah,
it,
we got spoilers for everything. This some of the stuff that's come out is fairly new. So
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, they only have 2 episodes out right now. I forgot about like shows that just don't drop a whole season. Now it's like, oh yeah, everyone's kind of gone back to episodic.
I honestly thought they were going to drop all of them for this
I thought
one.
so too.
Like they did for Echo.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
thought
know-
this was kind of, we're just
Yeah.
gonna dump it.
I have to say I like it because I missed the anticipation of the following week, and also
Mm-hmm.
just the I get tired of binging because I forget what I watch. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that did
yeah,
happen.
That is good.
You know?
That's true.
And we
So-
are entering the spooky season, so the show's kind of
Exactly.
kind of works out.
I heard it's pretty mature for a Disney. Well, I guess it's surprising that it's mature
It's I don't-
compared to WandaVision, right?
no, I think it's a good companion piece. To
Yeah, it is a good
WandaVision.
companion piece
Oh.
to it. Yeah,
Um,
it starts off along the lines of WandaVision. That's kind of like what's happening here.
Yeah,
It's very interesting. It
I
starts
love
off-
that. That first
Yeah.
episode is really good.
Yeah,
Actually,
it starts off with like if you ever saw Mayor of Easttown on
Yeah.
HBO, it starts off like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like she's a detective in the small town. There's
Yeah.
a murder, and you're like, what?
like some of the shots are like almost taken directly from that show. I've
Right.
seen someone did a comparison video.
Yeah, and there's even it's Agatha of
Of Westview.
Westview. Yeah,
Now,
Yeah.
does this take place right after WandaVision?
They say about 3 years after.
Oh, 3 years.
yeah.
Okay.
'Cause-
Is it 3 years?
Yeah,
Is it
because
that?
she asks the neighbor,
neighbor,
like, how long
yeah.
have I been here? And he's like, oh, about 3 years.
Oh, right.
So
I was a little confused because that, because like, has she been? Because like once you, so the episode, the first episode starts off with she's in this small town cop murder TV kite
very
Easttown show.
yeah.
And then little by little, of course, during the as the show goes on, you see that there's there's something not right, but then things begin to manifest to her that things aren't right.
Yeah.
And Aubrey Plaza makes her appearance as a FBI agent that's working with the small
You
town
can throw those cuffs on me any day.
any day.
Any day.
But then you remember what she said? Aubrey Plaza said to her. She's like, "Is this really how you see yourself?"
Yeah.
Like she kind of broke the character.
Yeah,
like,
she
for a
kinda-
second.
yeah.
It's like, is this really And then you see Agatha was like confused as that, like about that. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? But anyhow, so she eventually realizes that something's not right. She's able to. Aubrey Plaza literally tells her, like, call yourself out. That's right, call yourself out. And she is able to wake up from the spell that which I didn't understand why, because I can't remember
so
the
at
last episode.
The end of
WandaVision.
WandaVision,
Yeah.
Wanda, beats Agatha and
Right.
traps her basically. She's like, I'm going to kind of trap you in your own world kind of thing.
Oh right.
And so, like, as a kind of punishment. So Agatha has been under the spell, and even, like, when she finally, like, breaks out of it, she asks her neighbors, like, how long have I been here? What have I been doing? And they're like, yeah, you're just kind of, like, been living in that house. So all the stuff that she's been seeing, like, this whole episode, you see her, like, have a whole life as this detective. It's just all in her, like, she's just been living in that house, and, like, people, like, bring her food and stuff.
Well, and there's stuff in the house that I
Like-
guess is corresponding to
Yeah,
where
like
she was
the-
living. Like she has a car set up inside her living room, but it's just like a steering wheel. And shit.
Yeah. So it's like, you can just imagine for like 3 years, she just kind of been shuffling around that house,
Right.
like coming up with different scenarios and stuff.
So,
It's really good.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
interesting how they did
there's
it.
a bit of a mystery with a teen boy who we
Right.
don't know his name yet. We don't know his backstory.
Yeah.
And he's like a teen witch who is trying to like the whole thing of the show is there's a thing called the Witch's Road, which if you walk the Witch's Road, you can get whatever you desire, basically.
But it's a very dangerous road.
It's very dangerous, and Agatha's seemingly the only person who's able to do it effectively. And so
she claims she's done it before.
Yeah.
So.
And so he's been looking for her to kind of lead the way. And then she's like, so what's your name? And every time he goes to speak or say something, she like can't hear him.
He is it doesn't seem like he notices, but his mouth like gets like stitched up.
Oh, I saw an image of that.
Yeah.
Somewhere online.
It's interesting how they're doing it. But yeah, so she doesn't know what his name is. She calls him Teen, I think.
Yeah, just Teen.
Yeah.
And then so then the first episode is her kind of waking up and realizing, and then like she's lost all of, like Wanda has drained all her power, so she has no powers, and all these other covens and witches are coming to get her basically.
In revenge or coming?
Yeah, because she screwed so many people over.
Because her whole power is to like steal magic from other witches.
If she gets blasted, that's how she gets her power.
Okay.
Yeah, and the witches blast her with her power.
Off the bat, though, like, are you already rooting for her character, or is it like
I'm not?
No,
No. She plays an asshole in the show,
Right.
which
I
is
mean,
like, you know,
I love Kathryn Hahn as an actress.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm rooting for her.
Yeah.
I think she's great
exactly.
in this role. But
Yeah.
But I mean, like, are they making her charming or endearing enough where you can like?
no, she's not really showing any vulnerability yet.
Which is
okay.
I've heard other people say that in reviewing the show that we know who Agatha is though. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we saw her in WandaVision.
Yeah.
And we know that she has some type of past. So I don't know if I 100% agree with this, but people have been saying that online, that this is supposed to be the first episode where you're supposed to set up a character that you're supposed to be rooting for, and we're not because she's an asshole and we know she's a villain. So it's like, what's the point of doing this? And the entire the entire episodes, she's just like being a dick to Teen and kind of like trying to trick the other witches into like blasting her with their magic so she can take it. And she's like a dick to other people, and it's just like, yeah, but we kind of know who she is. So I'm not, again, like Watson said, it's like, I'm not really rooting for the character because she hasn't done anything like redeeming yet.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
it's coming for sure.
Yeah.
There's
the
no
fact
way
that
they're not
she's
gonna do
vulnerable
that.
now, I think that's going to play a big part. Like she has to kind of lead. So the second episode, to go on the Witch's Road, to kind of regain her power, she has to have a coven basically. She needs like 5 witches.
Yeah.
Or a list of 4 names to do like there's different types of witches. So there's like one that's like clairvoyant, like a divining witch. There's one who does potions. You know, like, so she has to kind of build her A team, if you will.
Okay.
Right.
And she's just kind of a dick to them all, going like, well, I don't really need you, but I think we're gonna see through the course of the show, maybe her break down a bit. Like, I kind of need these people.
Right.
Does she still break the fourth wall?
So no, she doesn't break the fourth wall. I mean, so what so far, what do you think of it, Watson?
I was surprised. Didn't expect a lot because we've been kind of, I feel like Marvel as a product has been kind of, not working as well but with Deadpool and Wolverine coming out, I feel like the quality's gone better, or maybe they're just taking more time now because they've had a few stinkers, especially with the all the Disney Plus stuff. Like I think Secret Invasion was so bad and was reviewed really badly.
Yeah.
That I think they're like, okay, we got to kind of step it up now.
Yeah, I mean, I was not holding out much hope for the show because, again, like just what you said.
Yeah.
With Marvel, it's just, I don't know, it's just been one bad thing after the other. So I just went into it like, whatever. You know, I enjoyed her character from WandaVision. That's probably the only saving grace for me when I went into it, which is the reason I went into it. So I was like, let me see what this is like. And I didn't really have any expectations for it. It's probably going to be terrible.
Right.
But whatever. And I was, again, maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I thought it was going to be a total dumpster fire, like on other stuff that Marvel's put out lately. And it was pleasantly good. I was surprised. I know that that character development for Wanda's coming, because obviously she's going to develop, feelings for Teen, because he's He's
Right.
He's a friend of hers and will become a friend of hers, and she's gonna have to look after. There's gonna be a moment there where she has to save his life or something, or sacrifice her power to save him or something. So it's coming. So I think she's not irredeemable yet. You know, there's gonna be a moment where they can't keep going like this, where she's just an asshole to everybody.
No,
and I thought the comedy was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Right, and I like the cast.
Cast is great.
Obviously, like Catherine Hahn's amazing in this role. I've been a fan of hers for years, and she's always been great as second banana on the. You know, she's never been like a lead really.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see her kind of step up. Audrey Plaza's, you know, I've been in love with her since Parks and Rec.
Right.
And then we so the other cast members like her coven are like Patti LuPone's in there, and it's a really great cast. So yeah, I can't wait to see more.
Yeah, and I think the comedy hits pretty well. There's a moment where they all go in the basement to open, because to get to the road, it's like a magical dimension, I guess.
Yeah.
So they all go into the basement and they do like this song, "The Witch's Road," to like open the door to the So there's a coven of witches who are the Salem 7 or something, or Salem 6, that are coming for Agatha because she screwed them over.
Yeah.
And I think the horror elements of the show are pretty well done.
Yeah.
That was a pretty creepy scene when you see where you see this hooded figure that all of a sudden turns into this 6, and so Teen is upstairs kind of like trying to close the windows and because he's
fight him off.
He's not part of like he's not part of the chant. Yeah. So only witches can open the doors.
The power of one.
And people were like kind of comparing it to that, but I don't think it's a comparison because this is actually, the song was decent.
Yeah.
They had pretty good chemistry. It didn't feel forced like that power of one, power of many thing.
Gotcha.
So they finally opened the road, which is like a door in the floor, and they open it. It's just like spiral staircase.
It's very Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it's very Beetlejuice. Yeah, it's just like the spiral staircase that goes on the floor, and like Teen like runs. It's like, is that the road we should go? And he just like jumps down there before everybody else. Yeah, it was well done, man.
And I like that one of the witches, she needed like a earthbound witch or something like that.
Yeah.
And she just kind of grabs the neighbor, like this little lady who's like, "Oh, we're gonna go have fun." Like she just has no idea.
I didn't get that. Is she an actual witch or like?
I don't think so. So basically one of the witches is like clairvoyant. She writes a bunch of names of like, these are the witches you need to be on the road.
Yeah.
And
the names of
Agatha sees the names and kind of like she like tears up or eats the piece of paper basically. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be Audrey Plaza.
Oh,
because she's like, it's something heart, right? It was like written like Black Heart or something like that. And Audrey Plaza said earlier in the scene, like, "Oh, my heart is black."
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, it's got to be her, but she went and grabbed Mrs. Hart, who's like her neighbor.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Blackheart a Marvel villain?
Yeah,
it is.
That too.
Yeah. I looked it up. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And then because I think people online, I came across a article of people assuming that Audrey Plaza's character is either Blackheart or Mephisto. Something like that. They really want Mephisto.
Yeah,
everyone wants to.
Yeah, there's a theory she's like Mephisto's daughter.
Yeah.
So maybe people have been wanting Mephisto for a long time. I don't know what's gonna happen.
And this is the kind of show you could bring in that supernatural element. Right.
Now I know that they've already obviously filmed the whole show, but if they did do a second season, would you want to see if Sam Raimi could do an episode?
He would be perfect
awesome.
for it. Yeah,
because he did. Multiverse of Madness. So.
Yeah, no, I think his style would fit perfectly with the
show,
the theme.
Especially. It's funny, man. I laughed more than I thought I would. And the chemistry between the coven is pretty good so far.
Yeah, I got very like Hocus Pocus vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not super scary, but just in that supernatural realm.
Especially between her and Teen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So because she's constantly like talking shit to him, and he's like this like. He reminds me of, did you guys ever see Puss in Boots, Last Wish?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like Perito, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very optimistic, like, hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah,
like,
he's just kind of enjoying the whole thing.
Yeah. It's I don't know who the actor is, but they did a pretty good job with him.
He's great.
He's doing well. Yeah, he's doing well in the role. I think that they're playing well off of each other.
And then there's the whole mystery of like, why can't she understand him? Why is his backstory?
She saw that and she's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like she knows that
I don't
there's some
think
kind
she
of
would
spell
be
on
into
him,
him.
but she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she keeps calling him her familiar.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
Now is with her being like a tertiary character in the universe, would you say you would like to see her have a movie, or would a show is best for her?
I think show is best. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Well, like in regards to multiple MCU characters that are tertiary, like hers.
yeah.
Do you think Marvel and Disney should focus those characters on shows and then the bigger characters in movies?
Like I really like what they did last year they did Werewolf by Night, or was it a year prior?
A year prior, I think. Yeah.
So something like that where it's this little like contained in its own, like we can do these C-list, D-list characters,
and then
you
you could
don't have
have
to
them
connect them,
appear.
yeah.
You could have them appear as cameos in the movies.
exactly.
Right.
You
But
know,
they're just
this kind of thing would be perfect for like a Man Thing to show up in. You know,
Now-
it deals with that supernatural.
But in that regard, with Daredevil, do you consider him that tertiary to stay, or would he
He's
get his
certainly
own
not
movie?
tertiary. I think he's certainly above that, but he's definitely maybe not top tier because
Right.
he started off in TV.
yeah.
you know, and there's his story is contained enough
Yeah.
that it doesn't necessarily affect the rest of the MCU.
No, because
like proper
he's street
characters.
level. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, he's not trying to save the world. He's just trying to
Right.
save a neighborhood.
right, exactly.
Like,
you know,
was it 5 blocks of New York?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
his
Well, I mean,
turf.
he does get involved in bigger scuff ups like
Yeah.
with Spider-Man and
Yeah.
Kingpin and stuff in Manhattan and
Right.
whatnot. But like,
But his power set's pretty low.
No, of course.
You know,
Right,
he can
of course.
punch
It's
good.
like Jessica
Yeah.
Jones. She's
Yeah.
not. You're not going to see Jessica Jones in a major movie. You know?
because
No.
it makes sense for him to appear in a bigger movie as the lawyer to help
yeah,
whatever
absolutely.
hero.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
and then that's it or something.
Right.
Or, you know.
Joe Locke is the actor who plays the teen. He's really good.
Yeah.
Man. I like him. He's
Yeah, I
he's funny.
don't know. I don't recognize him from anything else, but
Yeah, me
Okay.
neither. And then you said Patty LuPone is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Deborah Jo Rupp is the Mrs. Hart.
oh
from that 70s
yes,
show.
that's right.
Yeah, and she plays the her normal character. It's like, oh hey guys, what's going on?
She really
yeah.
has that one mode in
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
But
Like very motherly.
she's like,
yeah.
I do this really well.
Yeah.
Is the Darkhold a thing in?
They mention it, but it's
They
not a thing
well
yet.
because Wanda destroyed
Yeah, that's why I
all the
was-
dark holds across the universe, like multiverse, right?
Multiverse,
So
yeah.
every version of dark hold has been destroyed,
Okay.
and that's why the other witches can attack Agatha because she was the one
Right.
that had the
it.
dark hold
I
for
see.
so
Yeah,
long.
she lost
Okay.
it.
And so now it's like, oh, your protection is gone. We're coming to get you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely gonna be a lot more horror elements related to it to the show as we go along.
Yeah.
which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
You know,
Would you like it to turn into a not like as serialized as Charmed, but in a Charmed
Like
fashion?
24 episodes or
Well, I mean, not even 24, but like each season, it's almost like they're dealing with a new demon, or
I think you could
type
do
of
something
thing,
like
or-
that. We
Probably
haven't
do,
seen
yeah.
anything
You know.
like that since like Supernatural or
Yeah,
Charmed.
Charmed,
or
right?
something.
Charmed. Yeah.
Like you could do a more serialized. I think this is kind of maybe like a one season and done thing.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because Disney doesn't seem to really be into like, especially with the Marvel properties, we haven't seen. Have we seen season 2 of any show so far?
Loki.
Oh, Loki
Loki,
was the only
yeah.
one that got a season 2.
Yeah.
Not even like Captain America, Winter Soldier didn't get a season 2.
But
like,
he's
none of
getting a
those-
movie, and then
Yeah.
and I mean, I can't think of any.
I can't
others.
think. Yeah. I mean,
is
well,
Moon Knight getting a season 2?
Yeah, I keep hearing that, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
because,
Because Oscar Isaac's he's so hot right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be hard to lock down, but
yeah.
Do you recommend this, Watson?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
so far we're 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm curious to see where it goes. I mean, now they're on the Witch's Road.
Which
seems
finally
to
made it in
be-
the second
Yeah.
episode.
So I'm interested to see where it goes. I think that definitely versus other Marvel TV shows, like I mentioned, like Secret Invasion and stuff, which felt like I was watching it just to get through it.
Secret Invasion. Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm gonna watch it because Marvel.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it. Like
I kept
I'm
hearing
enjoying
that,
it.
which is why I didn't watch it.
Or like
People
Acolyte,
slowed through
even.
Yeah.
Just a show that I was like, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah.
The
But you weren't excited to watch those shows at all while you're watching them, right? You're just kind of like,
I was excited
it's like an
because I
obligation,
love
right?
the universes
right.
they're in.
That's what I mean.
But I wasn't excited. Like Acolyte, I was actually a little bit more excited about because I knew it was outside of the time period of Skywalker, and like I want more of that. I want more of like, yet again, it's like Star Wars, man. It just drives me crazy because it's like you got this, thousands of years you can delve into, and they still keep going to that same like 10-year period.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think it's more or less they're afraid that people won't understand that part of the, because like people understand Empire and lightsabers and Sith and Jedi, but when you're like something so far out there, they're gonna be like, well, what am I supposed to be following here or rooting for or something?
Even with like the Acolyte, when they announced it, they were like, oh, this show's set like 200 years before Luke and Leia, and I was like, cool, like we're gonna see something different, and it was just the same shit, like same design, same. I was like, man, they're not trying really.
That's
why
weird
shit.
That's why it would be awesome if they explored a lot of the past. I say just jump so far into the future, everything's like gone that we know, so you can do new stuff,
because there is comic books that deal with like I think it's Luke, well, it's set like 1,000 years after Luke and Leia. Yeah, and it's like it's a Skywalker. I think it's like Jace Skywalker is the character's name or something.
Well, I mean, they can't do that now.
But he's like a pirate basically.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. But like, even take the characters they made in those Legend books that are now Legend or whatever, and just warp them and do the new thing, because it's that easy. It's already written before you.
Well, the problem with that is that Kathleen Kennedy came in and decanonized everything. Basically.
Well, no, that's the thing. But they're
slowly pulling things,
cherry picking a lot of stuff from
like Thawne and stuff like that.
Right, they realized that was probably a huge mistake.
Like I'm sure at some point they'll try and throw in Revan or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
But I'm not. I mean, it's just that. I think, and then they don't have to worry about matching the technology of the previous films and or making it look older than the films that have already been made. So if you go future, you could just make whatever you want, and then
that's true.
You're fine. So if anything, that should be, and then no one's like, oh, they're gonna just throw member berries at you because we're in the past. Remember that?
Right.
So no, just go to the future. You don't have to touch on anything that's happened. And you make your own story. That's all you have to do.
I think kind of like, Star Trek is a great, building block of that, like with Next Generation, of like, the Star Trek you love, like Kirk and all that. We're not going to do that. And our technology is going to be advanced, and the design is going to change. And, just, like, you'll have the bare bones stuff, transporter stuff like that, but it's a whole new thing, and you do need something like that in Star Wars to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah. But yeah, Agatha all along, I recommend it. Again, I didn't think it was going to be. I don't think it's the greatest show ever made, but it's better than what they've put out recently.
You got me intrigued. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I had a decent time watching it, so I do recommend it.
Nice.
The crazy thing is that we had 2 releases this weekend. We had Agatha and Penguin.
Yeah.
As
nerds, we're eating well.
Yes. I watched Agatha and then went right over to Penguin.
Yeah.
And Penguin, wow.
Woo! Yeah.
Let me tell you, guys. I went into this not expecting a ton. Like, it's probably going to be like your typical kind of like action kind of show, and I don't know how this is going to work because this is the first time we've got a spin-off TV show from one of the Batman movies.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's see how this works. And I was again very pleasantly surprised. It's very Sopranos-esque.
Yeah.
As I wrote in the group chat to everybody, it really gave me that vibe of like Sopranos gangster noir kind of thriller.
Yeah.
And there's even like a lot of, because it's supposed to take place back east, obviously. It's supposed to be like New York, New Jersey.
Right.
Gotham.
It's Gotham, baby.
It's Gotham.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. What'd you think of it?
Man, going in cautious, because the last time anything Batman related was on TV was like Gotham, or like there was that dark Batman Gotham Knight show, which was terrible. Batman on TV has generally been crap. Right. Like it's like, well, And in this, I knew that we weren't going to get Batman. It was going to be a Penguin show. And I was like, okay, it's going to be like, yet again, like Gotham, you know?
Right.
Blown away by it. Blown away. And I, yet again, on the group chat, we were talking about it. And it's just like, Colin Farrell is so good in this character. And
you forget he's under that makeup. You know?
It's I mean, there's certain scenes that it kind of pulls you out because he's so heavily made up, but the makeup is so well done.
Yeah, man.
Like the fact that in the show it deals with, I mean, it's post the Batman.
Right.
So I thought it was gonna be more of a prequel show, but like the rise of him. But this is like takes place right after the movie.
Flood, yeah.
So you've got, talks about the flood damage, talks about like
there's
the
still
Riddler.
a lot of water areas of Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. Like basically the rich areas didn't get touched, but there's areas of Gotham that's under sea level that just got demolished, and lots of people. I don't know how many people died. They say, but a lot. And there's this power vacuum as well because Carmine Falcone was killed.
Right.
Yeah.
So all these gangs are warring for turf now.
They're beginning to kind of strike out at the Falcone family.
Yeah.
Did you not watch it?
No, I watched it.
Okay,
I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. What I did like about it was we get to see more of. It's weird, like suburban Gotham. Like we get to see some of the Palisades, the rich areas of Gotham.
That were untouched.
But so we're seeing a little bit more
neighborhoods.
Yeah,
like the Long Island.
Yeah. Because when you watch the Batman, it's just a lot of like the city.
Urban.
It's very urban, exactly. So I was just expecting more of that, but to kind of branch out and be like, no, we're going to show you like how all these different classes live in the city and how it is like a living organism, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. I dug it, man, and like, and yet again, like seeing that makeup in broad daylight, it with harsh light on it, and it still works.
His scars look very real. And
and I think that's a true testament of like how the quality of the show, like they didn't cheap out on it.
Yeah,
no,
So let's go into what happens on the show. Again, spoilers for everybody. So it starts off right after the flood, right after what the Riddler did to Gotham, and again, there's a power vacuum because Carmine is gone, and his son steps up.
Yeah,
to try to kind of run
Alberto.
it. Yeah, Alberto, but he's kind of like a clown. He's
an addict.
Yeah, it's openly said that he's a alcoholic.
He does the drops.
He's a drop head, which makes him unstable and not a great leader. And so there's a great scene in there where it seems that Penguin is going to try to be loyal to him and see how far he can, because it doesn't. From the very beginning of the show, you think that he doesn't see himself necessarily as the leader of the family. He's just kind of like, well, I could probably do it, but I'm good where I'm at. Penguin.
Oh yeah.
The Penguin's kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm good where I'm at. I'm running my own thing. I got my own crew. He's kind of like a captain within this family.
Kind of getting scraps.
Yeah, he's getting by, but he doesn't. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of ambition to be the boss of the family.
Right.
And Alberto comes in and he tells this great story about. This is why I love this show, because it's not just it's not very superficial. It kind of goes deeper into. This is what I was saying about The Sopranos. It's in The Sopranos. There's a lot of like storytelling about. Oh yeah, when I was growing up,
building the lore.
Exactly. Yeah. When I was growing up, old man Joe on the corner used to tell whatever, that kind of shit. So he goes into that, and and Penguin tells him a story about this guy who died when he was young,
an old mob boss.
But everybody loved him, and he had a huge parade, and he's like it's a very like touching story of how he wants to be kind of remembered himself, like this kind of person that everybody loves, that everybody respects, and the kid starts like making fun of him, like, is this really you're pathetic? This is what you think about yourself. Yeah. Starts laughing at him, and then he fucking pulls and he blows him away. Penguin just pulls out a gun and just like shoots his ass.
And he kind of takes that second like, fuck.
Yeah, he's like, he starts laughing at it. Right. He has the kid laying there, and then all of a sudden he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then of course we cut to him trying to get rid of the body, because he is although Carmine Falcone is gone, his family, not necessarily his blood family, we find out later, but his I guess the leadership of the family is still around.
Yeah.
So
it's like a chairman. I mean, a board.
Right. It's still around. So obviously, because
It's like the Gottis.
They don't. Yeah, they don't mention the mafia in this, but he's obviously like a made guy.
Yeah.
So you can't whack a made guy without permission.
Yeah.
So he's going to get killed himself, regardless of.
He's got to cover his tracks.
Exactly. Yeah. So he finds a group of kids trying to jack his car, his rims.
Purple Maserati.
Yeah, his purple Maserati, which doesn't stick out at all. And he opens up on him with his gun, and he's able to capture one of the kids. His name is
Victor Aguilar.
Yeah, and he's just this street kid who was part of like this little crew who's trying to rip off his car. Takes his driver's license and sees where he's from. It turns out Penguin is from the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
he grew up in the same neighborhood. And he kind of like takes the kid like under his wing for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, at first it's just more like, you got to help me get rid of this body.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to get rid of you.
Right.
But then, I think he starts
as the night goes along, he kind of grows a little more fond with the kid.
Yeah.
And I like how they humanize the Penguin because he captures Victor and he's about to shoot him.
Yeah.
And that's when he sees he's just a scared kid who's like pleading for his life, and then he's like, "Okay, kid, relax."
And I think with this version of the Penguin, like his main, like to his core, I think like his whole thing is he just wants to be loved.
Right.
Right. And here's this kid who, when Penguin's like, "All right, turn around, kid," like the kid's like, "I can work for you.
Yeah.
I've got ambition. I can," he starts like pleading for his life, and I think it's that kind of thing that makes Penguin go like, "Oh, this kid's kind of respecting me," where no one else really does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's also he sees a bit of himself in the kid because, if anything, the Penguin in this wants to prove himself.
Oh, yeah.
And especially prove himself to his mother. And like with that first moment when he shoots his car to scare them away, the kid's like stuttering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows that like he's got an impediment like he does.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's kind of connecting with him.
Yeah.
Man, that foot.
Yeah.
They did such a good makeup job. I could like almost smell it through the screen. I was like, that thing's got gangrene
he has a
or something.
deformed right foot.
It looks nasty.
Yeah, but he uses a
brace.
A brace for
and that's where you get his little waddle.
Yeah.
He does have an umbrella for 2 seconds in the first episode. I was like, I see what you did there.
Yep. Well, I also like how you were saying, Chad, it's, again, going back to The Sopranos. The Sopranos, they were always talking about, like, oh, this kid, he's from my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing. Like, if you're from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have a connection.
The suicides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, like, he sees where Victor lives, and they talk about the liquor store that they both go to as kids. Like, have you? Oh, they still sell those slush puppies?
Yeah.
You ever mix the colors? And he's like, no. I'd like to though.
Yeah. And the kid's smart.
Kid is smart. Yeah.
In the future, I would like to do that. Like straight away.
So the part you were talking about, they dump the body in the trunk of a car, and that's when Penguin's like, okay, turn around because the sun is coming up.
Right.
And that's when the kid starts pleading, and he's just like, all right, I just want to see the sunset. Like he realized, okay, I'm gonna give this kid a chance, and I thought it was kind of gonna end there. Like, okay, but it doesn't.
I thought it was going to hit him and throw him in the trunk too.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Then it keeps going. Now we find out that the kid who killed his sister is out of Arkham.
Right. Yeah. What's her name?
Sophia
Falcone. Yeah.
So this Carmine Falcone's daughter.
Yeah.
Who is apparently like this fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the Hangman.
Yeah. In the, this goes right back to Long Halloween.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's the main killer in that.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Alberta? I forgot.
The actual killer is.
It's Dent's wife.
Yeah.
Spoilers for that.
Spoilers if you haven't read on.
Sorry.
But you don't know where she began and where she ended because there's also other possible killers.
Holiday killers. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I love that. I mean, they're delving right into the material, with the whole Falcone family and stuff. So.
And I gotta say, Kristen Maloney as Sophia.
I love her so much.
So good.
Yeah,
nailed it.
She's great. Yeah,
she has these like wild eyes.
Yeah, if you watch those scenes again, she does not blink. For the whole time she's like menacingly staring down Penguin. But what's great is like,
well, explain what happened. How did she end up?
I just wanted to get into one thing. The frame of when she gets in real close with the camera and the bangs coming down in her front of her, she looks exactly like, who's the artist on Long Halloween?
Oh, Tim Sales.
It looks exactly like Tim Sales' face.
She's got that same kind of
Sophia.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And the eyes match.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh shit,
yeah.
they really went in on that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I didn't even think about that. You're right.
So I was like, oh, this. That's why I was like, this is impeccable.
Shit.
Yeah.
She didn't need the size of the character. She had it immediately.
Yeah.
From the way she acted it out. So
Yeah. So she's the sister of this kid who's now missing.
Right.
And of course, she suspects Oz. Like they call him Oswald. She suspects Oz from the very get go.
Because he brings up a drug deal.
He is summoned to the family mansion, and I love how Vic is like, well, what does that mean? Because everybody knows like, oh, you're being called in.
Yeah.
From like Donnie Brasco, you might get whacked out, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, it could be anything. They're probably just I'll just tell them.
If I don't come out, it'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, I love that.
We'll be fine. Yeah.
while you're in here, why don't you look around for your sense of humor?
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Yeah. So he goes in there and they basically tell him, we're shutting down your operation. We're moving somewhere else.
Gotham's getting too hot.
Gotham's getting too hot.
Yeah.
But it's a moneymaker. So Oz pushes back and says, well, if I can get something in, and he doesn't tell him what it is.
Right.
That could bring in even more money. Can I keep on operation?
Well, it's the only operation he's got left, pretty much, because the club is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And he says that they were able to take 30%, recover 30% of the product.
Right.
He's like, well, some of
But
it's
it's all
water damage.
contaminated.
Yeah. It's like that's not
So
gonna stop drop
nasty.
heads from like
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a shit. And so that's when you see Sophia come in, and he's like, "Oh, hey, welcome back." And where were you? Arkham.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
so-
see her eye twitching a bit. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm rehabilitated.
So she's been released from Arkham, and she immediately starts asking, like, "Hey, my brother didn't come back last night."
Yeah, you find
Have
out
you
that
heard?
they were close.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
close,
And
he's-
the brother even told her that he was going to go to Oz's club,
right.
Yeah.
to pick up some papers.
Yeah,
stuff.
and of course Oz is like, I haven't seen him. I don't know what's going on. Again, it's very like mafia-esque. Like you just whack the guy out, and the next day you're like, oh yeah, I haven't seen him.
and then he's got like a ticking clock,
Right.
of
Yeah.
like,
he's got they give him 48
shit.
hours
They're gonna,
to get whatever this new deal is together.
right.
And if not, his operation is going to shut down, and Sophia's most likely going to kill him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I like that she's.
Well, it seems they have history,
That was what I was about to say. Yeah.
and like, because then she's like, let's go out for dinner.
Yeah.
And then you just see her eat, and I love.
It
She's
was
just
great. It was
ravenous.
great. Yeah, she's just like consuming everything. And you see, like Oswald didn't like Penguin didn't touch anything. He's just
No.
kind of sitting there with his drink, like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah.
So I mean, automatically he looks guilty as fuck.
Right. Exactly. And so anyhow, eventually as the series progresses, they get rid of the body and they dump the body in the car, and then eventually he is taken. Some of the guys show up at his apartment that work for Sophia.
Oh, well,
And that's when he
prior
drives
to
off.
that, you got him visiting
His
Clancy
mother.
Brown.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, the
Sal
mother as
Maroni.
well.
Yeah, we misses Clancy Brown. He visits Clancy Brown in prison, who is one of
Sal Maroni.
Sal Maroni, yeah.
The other
who's the former
major
boss.
Yeah.
And he makes a deal with him and says, hey, "Look, let's just get rid of the Falcones and
Right.
and
Oh, and
then
by
we
the
can
way,
take
here's
over."
your ring.
Here's your
Yeah,
ring.
the nice big move gesture.
It's
Yeah, it was a
good.
good just that the kid was wearing. when
Yeah,
he
it's like
shot
a
him,
trophy.
but his father took it from Sal Maroni.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he just like hands him his ring, and he's like, "Well, I'll hear back from you. I'm
Yeah.
sure."
Yeah.
So, but I love how Clancy Brown's character's like, he's like telling him like, "Fuck off," you know?
Yeah,
Like,
basically,
you're
'cause
gonna
he's
betray
like,
them.
You
Yeah.
sold me out earlier, because that was the whole thing with Sal got in prison because of the Penguin
Right.
ratting him out to the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Well,
like,
no, it was. I mean, it was Carmine who ratted him out.
oh
but,
yeah, it was
Carmine.
But he
Carmine,
was
right.
saying Penguin always played
Both
sides,
sides,
and he's like,
yeah.
"You always promise us stuff, and then you backstab us."
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
and you're thinking like, oh, this is Penguin trying to get out of getting out of the Falcons, but getting good with the Maronis,
Right.
And it's not that at all. It's the big play,
It's just a huge reveal at the end.
beautiful.
But then he goes and visits his mother, which
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
Man. Again, very
Who's
Sopranos.
the actress who plays the mother?
The
Because
mother?
she was
Yeah.
so
She was
great.
so good, wasn't she?
Because
Yeah.
she's kind of like this little dotty old thing,
Yeah.
and then she just turns on a dime
And
when he's like trying
her
to
name
get
was
his go bag.
Deidre O'Connell.
Ah,
that's what
She's
I like, because
phenomenal.
I was afraid it was gonna be Sopranos with him, caring for his mom, and his mom doesn't
Right.
approve of him.
That's
But
what I
I
thought
loved
too.
I
Yeah.
loved the switch,
Yeah.
because I was like, this makes more sense for his character, why he's got that drive for power, and,
right.
And it's
Because
like,
he doesn't seem to want it.
Yeah.
And the mom's the one like, you're
So
my big bull.
When
Yeah.
we first see the mother, she seems like she's not all there mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of like failing a little bit.
He's like, take your meds, Mom.
Yeah, take your meds.
And then she like, oh, the boys wanted to take a bath, so you kind of think she's like not there with dementia or something.
Yeah. But then eventually he's like, well, he's there to arrange for her to take off.
Yeah. Leave town.
Yeah, leave town because he's afraid of
Sophia.
Sophia and might come after his mother. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, like you said, she does this switch. Like, what's happening? Yeah. Like I raised you. What I know something's up. What is it? And then she gets very serious all of a sudden. Yeah. And very coherent. And then that's when he explains what's happening. Like, oh, tell me what happened. Oh, I killed.
Right.
And she's like, did he deserve? Basically, did he deserve it? Yes. Okay. Well,
he did what he was supposed to.
Yeah, do what he was supposed to. And then that's when she like kind of grabs him and says like this is. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's like it was instinct.
Yeah. Instinct. Yeah.
This wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
It's such a good scene. I'm like, if they go for Emmys or whatever next year, I feel like that's going to be the scene.
Yes, man. Yeah.
Well, I felt like every scene was an act in a play. Really, it could have been just like
it does seem
it was that well. Like each arc happened in each scene that it just worked so well.
Yeah.
I was like, and then they all connected with each other.
Yeah,
so
I feel like each scene, like the actors elevate each other in some way.
Yeah. And it was just. That was like a very standout scene of that whole episode, though. But
and it feels very like New Jersey-ish that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like Staten Island kind of vibe.
Staten Island or a little upstate New York where it's out of the city, and I was like, oh no, this. Yeah, and that's the thing about the show. It already expanded Gotham so much from what we saw in the movie because with the rain, it was very like you're imprisoned in the city.
Well, and you didn't really get to see because we didn't even get to see Wayne Manor in the movie. No. He was staying at Wayne Tower.
Yeah. And and that's what I like because even though I was worried about how it would look during the day. Yeah. And it still looked great. I was like, no, this is how it would look after it would rain repeatedly.
Oh yeah.
And so, I just thought. Even during the day, it didn't look. I could identify everything. Like it was still. It felt like Gotham. It didn't feel like too much.
I wonder where they filmed this.
I think they were in Queens.
For some of it.
Because the train bridge,
the L train.
I think it was in that area for some of those shots.
L train is Chicago. Never mind.
No, sorry, not the L train, but there was some overset. Although they could have been in Chicago too for a little bit too.
It seems like they might have.
But then, like where his mom lived, it seemed like it could have been Long Island or New Jersey, and there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. Of just them spreading it out like that. So I'm excited to see more of the city as the show progresses because. I mean, from the trailers, I've seen him he's wearing like a tuxedo. So if he gets into a better part of the city instead of like the shitty,
because we see like he looks out and you see like Wayne Tower and you see like the financial district far enough. So it's like it's there.
Yeah.
There's also a great part in where he. Because, you think he's just kind of like this gangster that is just out for himself. But then he sees flooded areas of the city. Yeah. And he looks like, he says, and you saw this in the trailer too, but he says, like, look what this maniac did.
Yeah, on the train when they're on their way.
And it's just like he's like upset that his city's been hurt like this. You know?
And then we get some pride of it. That Riddler supporter walking with the QR code.
Yeah.
And he's like, scan for the real face of Gotham. And I was like, oh, that was a nice touch. Because he would still have supporters out there.
Right, exactly,
And I was glad they didn't.
But Penguin like upset him. He's like, "Get the fuck out!"
Yeah. But I was glad they brought in small elements of the movie and not too much.
Yeah,
so you weren't worried about it meeting up to it. So it was like, no, it's its own thing right now.
I'm surprised we don't get like a Commissioner Gordon or something in there. But
that's the thing. I don't think because right now the city is still repairing itself, and there's probably so much happening that they too busy.
I mean, there's still
to worry about
FEMA.
There's still FEMA tents in that one alley.
Yeah.
So I think they're too busy to worry about a lot of the crime until bigger things start happening. Nothing's really happening right now. It's just the crime syndicates are trying to recover and maybe attack. Like they attacked one of Penguin's drug. Guys.
Right, they mentioned,
and they stole all their.
They mentioned that they're now other gangs are moving in and attacking the Falcone family because they think they're weak. Yeah.
What other Batman villains do you think would fit well in this world?
In this world,
because I don't think you're not going to see a Clayface. You're not going to see Mr. Freeze.
I think Calendar Man. A lot of the serial killer types.
Serial killers,
But
Zaz,
because if you think about it, they called in the news in the beginning of the episode, they called the Riddler a terrorist. So
Right.
a lot of those bigger villains will be terrorists to the city.
Yeah.
So you can't have a terrorist all the time. You have to have the lower criminals.
Right.
So Victor Zsasz, Calendar Man. There's
I think maybe like Black Mask could.
yeah, Black
Mask,
definitely Black
right?
Mask.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's you could have the ventriloquist.
I was just thinking that same thing.
Ventriloquist would be great.
Yeah. I was just thinking of
So there's ways to go about it, and like Professor Pig, supposedly he's
Professor
in the
Pig.
show.
Really?
When they were making the show, I heard inklings that he makes an appearance, but I could be totally wrong.
probably Catwoman, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like if they got her, yeah. So I mean, like crime can be still happening.
Yeah, I just it's like I want more fantastic characters, obviously, because that's kind of like
you might get the League of Shadows, maybe.
Yeah, but this is such a grounded. Like I don't even know if ninjas will be a thing in this show.
Here's the thing, though, like
or in this world,
I think there are because we're gonna get that version of Batman with Brave and the Bold with James Gunn's.
Yeah,
and it's just like I think it's good that sometimes we get a version of Batman that is like I don't want in this universe. I don't want to have to believe that. Oh, a Superman can be in this world. Like that takes away from it.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's like, So I'm kind of glad that it is grounded, and it's elsewhere.
It's wild to me that
it's like
not the
canon.
We're gonna have two different types of Batman.
Yeah,
possibly three different versions of the Joker.
Yeah.
Because we got the Joaquin thing.
I gotta say already, this one episode is better than the Joker movie to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No. That Joker could fit.
Right,
that Joker could fit in this universe.
No, it could, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, Maniac with a gun. Yeah,
I'm just saying. The Penguin's character is more interesting to me than the Joker's in the movie.
I could kind of see
because if you think about it, Joker is mentally disabled, and then he has his beliefs that he follows, but it's like. It's hard for me to even. It's like I get it. I get why he's angry, but also, I don't know. There's just something missing for his character where I'm like, you're just not there for me. But the Penguin, he's hitting it on all the.
Penguin feels like a real person for sure.
Yeah.
He just because he seems again going back to The Sopranos. It's like if the flood happened to The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And this is Tony Soprano like character where he has like. A mother who obviously is. Hold on, there's a helicopter. Fast forward.
That's the ride.
Yeah, exactly. That there's a mother that didn't quite lead him the right direction.
Yeah.
Because she tells him like, "Oh, you killed somebody. Well, you probably deserved it." But also kind of grew up in this hard life because of his disability. Yeah. He also talks about his two brothers, and there's a picture of him with his two brothers. And did you guys watch the the reel for the next couple?
No.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a scene in there when they're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently we see Sophia's story at Arkham as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's at least some flashbacks of it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's attacking
some
prisoner or something.
Prison fight.
I'm sure because she laughed at her or something. Yeah. So, but going back to Sophia, we eventually Oz runs into some guys who work for her hanging around outside his apartment, and he takes off and they chase him.
Yeah, it's a good chase scene.
Real good chase scene. Yeah, I was surprised about that, and they eventually catch up to him.
There's not one cop in Gotham, by the way.
They're all busy. They're all gone.
It's just so funny.
I think probably police station's flooded. That's probably
exactly.
gone.
Yeah.
Like,
they're off, they're doing traffic control and all kinds of other shit.
Yeah.
But they catch up to him outside these like FEMA tents.
Yeah.
And I love he kind of tricks him. He goes into the trunk of his car.
That was kind of smart, yeah.
But then as he gets in, one guy comes up to him and you see that like watching him in this show, he's because you saw him in the movie, he's willing to shoot when he has to.
Yeah.
But there's a moment because of his mother and because of like his disability that you're kind of like, oh, this guy's kind of like a teddy bear to an extent,
Right,
like, you kind of like
he does care about his town.
Yeah, your defenses kind of lower a little bit around him, like, oh, he's kind of like, But then he switched on that. He flips that switch right back to gangster.
Yeah.
When that guy comes up to him in his car and he grabs a gun, it's oh my god.
Well, and the thing I really like about this version of Penguin is also that he's not physically imposing. Like, he can't probably last in a fight.
No,
but
he's a big guy.
But the thing is, like, even when in the beginning when he's using the sledgehammer, it was like, oh, he's not that strong. So it's like, But I think that it works because he's got to make up for it with being a tactician, which he is,
Right?
Yeah.
In which they
Right.
really do well in this, proving in this first episode. I was like,
Exactly.
so I'm excited to see more of his machinations throughout the series.
And if you think you're not going to see, full frontal Osborn, or Oswald, you do.
well, I mean, you don't see his junk, but
Yeah. Well, he's taken captive
Yeah.
by Sophia's guys.
Yep.
And there's a great scene in there where he's being tortured basically.
Yeah, he's naked on a chair.
Yeah, and she's like approaching him, and you were talking about these wild eyes of hers.
yeah,
And she's just like, oh my god, like her dialogue in that scene.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think I'm crazy, Oz? You think I'm crazy?
Right.
Yeah.
tell me not
Yeah.
to take this personally.
Yeah.
But but you also see that Oz is still not a good guy because he's willing to let a kid get shot in the face.
Oh, well, yeah. So yeah, he's
like,
Sticking
"What
with
are you-
his lies.
You're gonna believe this
yeah.
kid?
They
Oh,
wheel out
really?"
one of the kids who was part of that crew. Who
Yeah,
tried to rob his-
stealing.
Yeah, and he's like, he said that he saw you with
No.
that night. He's like, what? No, you believe this guy?
dumb.
And
Yeah.
This kid right here. You don't. Man, she shoots him,
And she's like disappointed
Yeah.
with Oz. Like, she's like, let me kill this kid.
yeah.
And like,
He's nothing.
but like you kind of sense like you might be rooting for him a little bit,
Right.
but he is not a good guy. Like,
And
that's why I don't.
Right.
When the piano
My
wire comes out, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
The Garrett.
they're-
I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
They're like slicing through his arm.
Yeah, like just going to take it off at the bone.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like, oh, is this going to be another penguin type of gimp thing with a wing?
Right.
Like his arm's going to be like
yeah.
but no. But my prediction though with that kid being shot, I was like, I don't think Victor's going to leave the show alive. I think he's going to die by the end.
Oh,
of the
probably.
show.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't know if Penguin will do it or if he'll just
Last episode, actually, my last name is Freeze. And it's like, oh, no.
Oh shit.
But yeah.
But yeah, so he set up a plan with Victor to drive the car that they dumped the body into onto the compound.
Right.
And so that's what saves him.
Yeah, and it says like payback written on
yeah.
it.
And the pinky's
And the
cut
pinky's cut off.
He's got, yeah.
And I like the kid was supposed to like cut the head
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And you see like it's got like a cut line like where it looks like it's been sliced, but he couldn't get through the spine, he said.
Yeah.
He's like, should I go from the front or from the back? Of the
Yeah, he
spine?"
just doesn't know what he's doing, so he
Yeah.
just cuts the finger off. He's like,
Yeah.
cutting the finger off was hard enough.
Yeah.
He's like, room to grow.
Yeah, really go.
Yeah. So this
But-
kid like proved his loyalty.
Yeah.
But like the scream she gave when she saw her brother's body. I
Oh,
was like,
so
oh.
good, dude. Yeah.
And I
She's
love
great.
I love the cut to Penguin where he's just laughing because
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
so you kind of like, oh yeah, he's above the rest here.
He's
a
about half
tactician,
a step ahead.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right, right.
Not a full step. but-
But like it's when he's pushed up against a wall, he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I know what to do now.
Yeah.
So
Because it was all that they were watching that video of like blame it on Mame.
yeah.
And he's like, who's
he's
Mame?
like, she could be anybody.
Yeah. And I was like,
I love that part, man.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this broad.
yeah. You see the wheels turning.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
What a great show, man. What
Yeah,
a great
and,
show.
yeah. Colin Farrell yet again, like
Yes.
beautifully cast. I mean,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of people like, really, you couldn't get like a fat actor to be in this. Like there's a lot of other actors.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the acting ability, I think, more than anything else. And we know Colin Farrell is,
Right.
is,
But from everything I read, Matt Reeves wanted Colin Farrell for this role,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they were gonna do him as a skinny penguin.
Yeah, the
like,
Emperor
they were-
Penguin look with the blonde.
Right, exactly.
hair
And they
and
even
stuff.
tried it, and then it was Colin Farrell was like, well, let me try it with a little bit of makeup
Yeah.
on.
yeah.
I think that there's nothing wrong with because like I even saw pictures of Nick Cage going to be John Madden
Oh yeah, I
in
saw
that
that.
movie,
Yeah,
and
he's-
he obviously wearing similar makeup. It looks less realistic, I think, from that picture.
With
but,
a suit, yeah.
yeah. But no, I mean, if it looks real enough, I don't think it should be a problem for anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the what do you call it? Shoot, now I'm blanking on it. You could bring and the I think from the movie, because you saw so little of him in the movie that you didn't really get to know his level in the hierarchy. Like you thought he was higher up in the movie,
Right.
but it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, he's low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
So I was like,
He's like
that's
a-
very cool because now we're getting more of an
Yeah.
aspect of where he was at.
Well,
And
I think he probably had his little piece of the pie.
Yeah,
he had
he
the
had-
club,
Yeah.
and then now that's gone.
he was made to believe he was like one of the big guys,
and he
but-
was like friendly with Carmine.
Yeah.
was the whole thing.
yeah.
Right.
But now that he's gone, I think the rest of the family are like this.
They're
this
not- yeah,
fucking
they don't
clown.
like him, and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I'm an acquired taste.
yeah, I think that's it.
It's a great performance. I can't wait to see what they got next. I
wonder why they got Mark Strong to play Carmine Falco and not John Turturro.
What do you mean?
Turturro was in the movie.
Yeah.
Mark Strong is playing Carmine in the show for all the flashbacks and stuff.
Really?
That's what I read.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I had no idea.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right.
I mean, it didn't happen yet, but like you just read about.
I just read about it.
really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I just wonder if Turturro was like
Turturro
busy.
probably too busy.
Well,
yeah.
you know what? That makes sense because when they showed a picture of Carmine on the news, he looked a little different from John Turturro.
Yeah.
I was like, is that John?
Yeah.
So that makes sense that it's a different. But maybe John was like, I'm good with not.
Yeah, he's
doing
probably
that.
busy. Or he had another project coming up or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, he's in Severance, right? So he probably was filming that.
Oh, that's true.
That's-
That's it. Yeah, that could be it.
True.
Penguin, I'd recommend. I
I
can't
mean,
wait.
yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
wait.
I'm first episode's hooked. I was like, where's the next episode?
Yeah.
Damn it, one a
Yeah,
week.
I know, man.
I just thought they could bring in Professor Crane as like just a doctor in the
Oh,
city.
at Arkham.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe helping some of the FEMA people.
I was about to say maybe he's in the flashbacks at Arkham with Sophia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
You could do Hugo
Or
Strange.
they can even do
do Harley Quinn.
a small Joker cameo in there too if they
Right,
because
well-
he's in Arkham as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. Maybe Harley Quinn is one of her doctors.
There's true. Yeah, so there's a lot of Hugo Strange.
Hugo Strange. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't.
I don't want
Yeah, you don't have to like come out like
I don't want them to be like, hey, nudge, nudge.
No, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Who's this?
Yeah.
this wacky doctor
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, I'm glad this didn't depend on any of that. So I was like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
fully happy with that. And there
Because that was very Gotham. Like
you roll your eyes at a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I thought was really cool was there was a jeweler's in the background where he parked his car, and it was Burgess Jewelers.
Oh,
it was like Burgess
really?
Meredith. I was
That's
like, oh, that's a
cool.
nice nod.
Yeah, yeah.
To,
I didn't see that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Good little Easter egg.
Penguin.
But yeah.
Can't wait. I can't wait to speak about it, to talk about it some more.
oh yeah.
And then Watson, you recently watched the Transformers movie.
Yeah, I went
That
so
just came out?
Transformers.
Oh, wow.
Transformers
Tell us about
1.
it. I haven't seen it yet. Tell us about it.
So it's an origin story. They go back to the beginning, fully animated movie about the rise of Optimus Prime and Megatron and weirdly, fellas, listen up. They're friends.
What?
At the beginning, they're
my
buddies.
God.
They do fist bumps and everything.
Don't like it.
It's a little different than like, I was like, did they talk? Because I was just wondering, like, did they talk about this in like G1, like the old school days?
Yeah.
And they do talk about a little bit of like how Optimus Prime was Orion Pax, which is his name before he becomes a Prime, and like in the original version, like Megatron's like an army bot or something like that, and just kind of comes. There's no like relationship at all. But in this, it's very much like they're worker. They're miners. Like they're transformers that can't transform. So basically, they're stuck in the mines mining for energon, and Sentinel Prime, who's like the main prime on the planet, is kind of looking for the matrix of leadership, which we all know is the thing in Optimus' chest.
Spark.
Yeah, is missing on Cybertron. It is gone in the Great War, where all the primes disappeared. And Sentinel Prime is the last prime, and he's been going on missions to try and find it. And so Optimus Prime at this point is Orion Pax. Is kind of interested in, like, he wants to prove that he's more than just that meets the eye.
Yeah.
They say that a lot.
I bet.
So he's like, yeah, wouldn't it be great if like us miners or us non-transforming transformers, could do something and we could help out the cause and we can try and find the matrix of leadership and give it to Sentinel Prime and we'll be heroes kind of thing. And Megatron at this point, I think his name's like D16 or something like that. Is kind of like, you're crazy, we should just stick with protocol and stuff like that. And they go on little adventures and find out where the Matrix. Basically, they enter a race. There's a race in Cybertron that all the Transformers do, and Optimus is like, we can be in this race and we can prove to everyone that like we're worth it. And like, wouldn't it be great if we don't have to win? We just if we're not last, then we're doing something, right? And they're in the race, and basically, Sentinel Prime gets them and goes like, "You guys are great. Like, when you were in the race, productivity of the miners went up like 100% because they saw you as heroes, kind of thing. But then they get stuck down in like garbage disposal basement level kind of thing where they meet Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Who's kind of very annoying, and it's played by Keegan-Michael Key. Yeah, just talks the entire time, and it's very
making up for when Bumblebee can't speak.
It's true, but it's just it's very very much just doing Toad again.
Oh,
it's like I was I was a little worried about the voice casting. I was like, okay, we're getting like Scarlett Johansson, and and it makes sense through the course of the movie, like
Chris Hemsworth.
Hemsworth kind of makes sense, weirdly enough, because the beginning of the movie, you've got him very young, optimistic, kind of like baby face kind of character, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end of the movie, he is full Optimus. Like he's got the deeper register and the rollout and everything, becoming more of a leader at the end.
I see.
So you kind of needed someone with that range. Like you couldn't do that with like Frank Waller,
Frank Welker.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, he's kind of got the one mode.
Well, no, sorry, not Frank Welker. Frank Welker's Megatron.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh my God, I've got to retire my nerd card now because I forgot. Optimus Prime.
It's
man.
Hold
on.
It is early, everybody.
Hold on.
Peter Cullen.
Yes,
the voice of the Predator.
That's right.
I mean, not saying he probably couldn't do that role.
No,
But like you need that kind of youthful energy.
True, but I mean, what would you say? The tone of this movie. Would you say it was more kid-ish, or?
That's what I got from the trailer.
Okay, so it is and it isn't. Like it, I think this would play great because I was going to take my kid to it.
Yeah,
and then watching, I was like, it's pretty violent. There's a lot of like there's some like even some torture involved, and I was like, this is getting a little dark. So I would say probably 11, 12-year-olds would like this. Maybe 8, 9, but like it's pretty dark at times. The stuff that's in the trailer is pretty ridiculous, and they're definitely marketed for kids.
It kind of reminded me from the trailer. I was getting a vibe of Land Before Time with Megatron being Sarah, the Triceratops, and then obviously Optimus Prime is Littlefoot, and the rest of the gang is Bumblebee and
Alita.
And so I was like, okay, I guess it's that we shouldn't be doing this stuff, and then they are doing
and then you got like Alita 1 played by Scarlett Johansson, who's very like by the book, like she's trying to kill the vibe basically the entire time. So then they they're taken down to the garbage levels. They have to throw away garbage with Bumblebee. And then they find a recording from one of the primes during the war that gives the location of the Matrix. So they're like, we got to go to the surface, we got to find it, and we can hand it to Sentinel Prime and be heroes. They head to the surface, and what you find is that the aliens that they were fighting for like the 50 years ago, there was a big war. The Quinterats, I forgot the name of them, but they're still planetside. And basically Sentinel Prime did a big old betrayal and killed all the other primes and made a deal with them so he could rule underground, the Cybertron, while they run the top kind of thing. And he's been basically using the miners to mine all the core and give it to them. So, you find out like he's a big, it's John Hamm as the voice of Sentinel Prime.
Okay.
And so he does a really good job of like being really charming and then turning it to sinister.
Yeah.
So then, they find out that there's been a betrayal. They find the room where all the primes were killed. And one of the primes, I think it's Alpha Tridon, I forgot. But he's like a little bit of spark left. And so they bring him back. And that's Lawrence Fishburne is the voice of that one. And he tells them that, they're missing a part. They call it the cog, which makes you transform. So like they're called cogless.
Is it intentionally taken from them, or they just were born?
So that's what you find out is that Sentinel Prime actually has created this secondary class citizens. Like before they're brought online, he steals their cogs.
Oh shit. Okay.
So so basically that's a bit that kind of Megatron kind of hears, and he's kind of taken a little bit more to the darker side of just like, oh my god, my whole life I've been lied to, kind of thing. Like I saw this guy as a hero, and he betrayed us, and stole who we are basically. So Lawrence Fishburne's character gives them cogs from the dead primes so that they can actually transform, and that's when they first get their vehicle form.
Yeah.
And, Megatron is like, look, this Sentinel Prime's bad. He's got to pay. I want to kill him, basically. And Optimus is the one going like, we don't do that. We got to be better than him, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Very Optimus Prime.
Yeah, exactly. And just seeing his friend kind of turning, evil. So one of the primes was Megatronius Prime, which was like Megatron's like favorite prime, and he has like a decal like sticker of that, and it's the Decepticon logo basically.
Oh, okay.
It's the face of that one prime, so he has it like on his arm like as a decal, like, oh, I dig this guy kind of thing.
So Autobots and Decepticons are not a thing yet.
Nothing yet.
Okay.
So then, they leave the bunker going, we gotta tell the rest of Cybertron what's happening here. They get caught by a group of rebels who are like trying to war against Sentinel Prime, but doing like very like guerrilla tactic kind of thing. And it's led by Starscream, voiced by Steve Buscemi.
Oh, cool.
Who's actually really great in it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they're like, look, what you're doing here is not working. Like you're just kind of hitting and running kind of thing. And there's kind of like a struggle for leadership of the group. And of course you get Megatron versus Starscream.
Yeah.
And then they kind of join forces with the miners to take on Sentinel Prime. And it's a decent flick, I'd say it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got some tense moments. Like I said, Sentinel Prime captures Megatron at one point and sees the decal on his arm. He's like, "Oh, you're a fan of Megatronius, are you? Well, let's make that permanent." And he like laser burns the logo, like the Decepticon logo, on his chest.
Oh wow!
And you just see him like like I was like, Jesus, this is getting dark.
Yeah.
But I guess they wanted like he needs a reason to flip to like full on. I'm gonna kill everything mode.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. So,
okay.
And then so they get in a scuffle. Megatron's gonna take out Sentinel Prime. Optimus kind of gets in the way, and like Megatron creates the giant cannon on his arm, and he's about to shoot Sentinel Prime. Optimus jumps, gets blasted, and then he's about to like fall in a pit, and Megatron like holds his arm like to like catch his friend, and that's when you see like his eyes through the whole movie are kind of like this like golden color, and then they flip to red like Anakin style, and he's like, I don't need to save you anymore, and he just drops him to like the core of the planet.
Oh wow.
And while he's like falling in the core, you see like the spirits of all the primes are like, you sacrificed yourself for a noble cause.
Wow.
You're going to be rebuilt as like Optimus Prime. And he gets the Matrix pops out.
Oh, whoa.
It goes into him. And he gets, and so there's like 3 forms to each one, because you see, like their minor form, the cogless form. Then they get the cogs from the primes. They kind of become like their middle stage transformation. And then by the end, they get the full on G1 look. And same with Megatron, he gets his cog look, and then he kills Sentinel Prime, rips him in half, pulls out his core and sticks it in himself to give him like a power boost.
Oh shit!
And that's where he gets his full Megatron look.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might check it out.
That sounds awesome.
Like,
Sounds
it's good. Like it's like. I saw it in 4DX, so obviously I had to, because I was so tired from work, and I was like, if I just sit in a movie, I'm gonna fall asleep. But I mean, literally, there was one part. There's like a train. They're on like a train to the surface, and the seats were going so violently. It was nuts, and the scene ended, and one guy, because it was a pretty empty theater at like 11:30 at night, and one guy was like, "Jesus Christ!" Like he wasn't expecting to get jostled as much as he did. So that was kind of funny. We're all just laughing
right.
at that. But yeah, it's a decent flick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of like cute little, they bring up like, like I said, like more meets the eye. They say like, you've got the touch, you got the power.
Okay.
They bring up GoBots. Like there's a lot of little nods.
So is the music? What's like the music like then? Is it
very basic
OST?
score?
Very score. Okay.
Yeah, and then
no one says I Still Function, do they?
No.
That'd be awesome if they did. I Still Function.
Yeah.
Quickly sidetrack for off the music.
Yeah.
I just forgot to mention for Penguin, the music in that was really great.
Yeah.
It was done by Mick Giacchino, so I think that might have been his son.
Oh, okay.
Because it didn't say his
right.
Is it Michael Giacchino?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't say that, so I was like, Mick, is that his son or something like that? So it must be a son or a relative of some
right.
sort. Cool. So I was like, oh, that's cool that they're doing that. But yeah.
Well,
but no, definitely
director now.
So do you recommend Transformers?
I do. Yet again, I like
just not for anyone too young.
I thought it was gonna be like more of like kind of a younger vibe.
Yeah,
that's what I got from the trailer. That's
and that's the thing. The trailer's kind of like some of the face, like the designs of the very kind of anime kind of look to it. The proportions are all weird and off.
Yeah,
but man, it was a decent flick. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because from the trailer I got it was more kid friendly. So I was like, just roll my
That's
eyes.
what I went and go
in
in like, all right, but I was like, okay, there's some meat to this,
you
know.
All right.
And I would, if they continue with this kind of storyline, I would watch it,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. So, all right, Transformers, you recommend?
Transformers 1.
Transformers 1. And then I recently watched Never Let Go, the new Halle Berry horror film.
How was that?
So it was okay. So the story is that it starts off that Halle Berry and her two sons, who are about 10, I think they're twins.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. What are the ones, the twins that don't look alike?
Fraternal
twins. They're in this cabin in what looks like deep Louisiana because it's a very heavily forested, wooded area, and the story starts out that you don't know exactly what's going on. There's some type of, according to Halle Berry, what she tells her sons is that they have to be tethered to the house through a rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the house itself is, the basic story of the house is that they're something, this is what Halle Berry tells her sons, that something has taken, an evil has taken over the world.
Right.
And so you think the story is set in a post-apocalyptic
yeah.
setting, and you don't exactly know what year this is in the beginning of the film, because she does have some technology that says it's definitely not like the 1800s. She has
right.
like a phonogram, which is like one of those old record players that you spin up.
There's no
electricity. There's no electricity. There's no running water.
Right.
There's no phones. There are some hints as to like, this is modern day, but when is it? You know, you see an old truck like an old Chevy from like the 1960s or 70s, like wrecked out in the woods. So it's like, okay, it's definitely somewhere around the 60s, 70s. Is it modern day? When did this apocalypse happen? Right. We're not sure. But this is what she tells. So there is a supernatural force that is surrounding the woods of this house, and the family cannot leave. They can't untether themselves from the rope that is connected to the house, because then the evil will touch them and corrupt them and force them to kill each other, and then that's when it'll be able to enter the house if it just lays her hand on them. So the sons can't see what Halle Berry sees. She sees the supernatural entities in the woods. There's an old lady that has like. Did you guys ever see Dawn of the Dead, the remake?
Yeah.
From Zack Snyder's.
Yeah.
So you remember that old lady that's in there that she got bit in the arm, and she comes back and she's kind of heavy and she has like kind of this goop running from her mouth.
Yeah.
It's like that. She sees this old woman who partially under her cheek, on her left cheek, on her face, she has like scales under there, and every time that she like shoots her tongue out, it's like a forked tongue, like a yeah. So she sees this thing. One of the kids is they have to go, since there's no tech. They have to go and scavenge what they can from the woods. They have to go and hunt. They're shooting squirrels, eating bugs, mushrooms, local herbs, whatever they can to survive. You know, they have a dog with them who's supposed to be a hunter, who lives in the house with them. And at one point, because the two boys are, they're I think they're probably like 10 years old, 12 years old, but they're brothers. But they they have, as most siblings do, they have like a little bit of a rivalry, and from the very beginning of the movie, they kind of have, they have disagreements with each other, and at one point, one of the brothers says to his brother, like, "Oh, she loves me more," like their mother loves me more. So he gets mad. He steps on his rope, and that causes him to slip and become untethered from the rope. So then you see this old lady that I was talking about kind of rise up out of nowhere, out of the woods. Halle Berry runs over because they have these whistles to signal each other for danger. Halle Berry runs over and is able to, wrap the kids up with her rope, and then this old woman is kind of hanging around, like right over her shoulder. But the kids can't see. The kids are like, "What do you see? What do you see?" And she's like, "It's okay, just breathe." Eventually goes away. And Halle Berry is telling these kids that there's an evil in the woods that is haunting her, but is after all of them. And if they touch one of them, they're going to get into the house and force them to kill each other. So little by little, one of the twins begins to believe that his mother isn't entirely correct. Like, this can't be right. Like, what do you mean there's no other people left in the world? And Halle Berry's like, we're the last ones left. The evil took all of them. They let the evil into their homes and forced everybody to kill each other. And we're the last ones left, and this house is the last thing that is protecting us. And every time that once the kid becomes untethered, if they do become untethered for any reason, Halle Berry forces her kids to like put their hands on this basement door that has like this intricate like wood carving of a tree. I think it's a tree in it. And she forces them to say like this kind of like prayer,
like a protection spell.
Yeah, protection spell kind of like, we I can't exactly remember what it is, but the sacred house that protects us. And apparently, if they touch the wood of the house anywhere in the house and say that, then they're not corrupted by this like evil. So they're it hasn't been able to touch them. Eventually, they begin to run out of food because they had a harsh winter. They're running out of bugs. They're running out of all their preserves that they have, which are like eggs and like preserved fruit and things like this. And so Halle Berry says, we're going to have to eat the dog. It sucks, but we're going to have to eat the dog. And the dog is, he sleeps with the kids. He's a friend of theirs. Yeah. And one of the son who's been questioning his mother's, mental health.
Sanity.
Yes. She takes him out. She takes the dog out to this greenhouse that they have. She's going to shoot him with the only weapon they have. Which Mika just took off as I was saying.
Your dog was like, you're not eating me, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat both of you before.
She's gonna shoot the dog with the only weapon they have, which is a crossbow. And then the kid, her son, who's been doubting her, comes out and says, like, "You're not gonna do this." And he takes a machete and cuts her rope that is tethered to the house.
Oh shit!
And he locks her in the green room. He's like, "There's nothing out here. We're fine." And he doesn't have a rope on either. He's like, "There's nothing out here. There's no evil.
Oh shit!
There's other people. We're starving. We're running out of food. We have to go."
Yeah.
And the mother immediately sees the old lady who she later tells her kids is her mother, right? Her mom is the one that she's seeing, and little by little we realize that the kids say, "What do you think would have happened if you had been touched by this thing?" He asks his brother, "Do you think you think our mom would have killed you like she killed our grandparents and our father?" So as it turns out, like Halle Berry killed her mother and her husband as well, because eventually her husband begins to appear outside the house. The evil, the quote unquote, can't come up. It can't go past the porch.
Right.
So it can't go up the stairs. It can't go on the porch. But he appears to her and says, "Why don't you give me the kids? They're starving. It's better to them starve. Just give them to me." And you see in his back, it's like very Sixth Sense, where you kind of like catch glimpses of what's wrong with the ghosts. There's a huge hole in his back, and Halle Berry's like, "You're not him. You're not my husband." Like,
Right.
So as she's locked up in this greenhouse, she sees her mother, and the mother says, "Okay, I told you I was going to force you to eat your babies." And Halle Berry breaks one of the window panes of the greenhouse and says, "You're never going to get them." And she cuts her own throat and dies. So now the two boys are left by themselves.
Shit.
Yeah. Now they're really beginning to suffer from lack of food. So the brother who's been downing his mother ties all three ropes together and is able to make it to what you see as a road. And he starts yelling for help. Doesn't see anything. Goes back to the house, and a camper shows up, a hiker shows up, just a regular person. And he's like, "Hey, I heard you guys calling for help. Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And that's when his brother comes out with the crossbow. Like, you're not real. Again, the kids can't see what Halle Berry sees, and they always ask him, "What is it that you see?" And she's like, "Oh, it's my mother. I see your father come to me." And so the kid is now like, "You're not real. You're the evil. You're trying to get on their house. Get out of here!" And he shoots him with a crossbow. And you see that the man, like later on, he died. The hiker later on dies in the woods, but the brother goes after him, grabs his backpack, and that's when you see that he has a cell phone, a modern day cell phone, and he's dialing 911. 911 is on. They're like, "Sir, can you respond to me? Can you respond to me?" So you're like, "Oh shit, it's all bullshit." Like
the
this
village.
I don't.
Very village vibes,
it's very much the village. It's like, I don't think so. The movie does a really good thing of questioning Halle Berry's sanity. Like, is this real?
Schizophrenia.
Or is there really an apocalypse, or is this all just bullshit?
Right,
or is there an actual supernatural thing? The supernatural element of it is it's very, again, it's tied to snakes a lot. So you see both, every time she sees a person, they have a forked tongue. They have like scales on them.
In the trailer, there's like multiple hands climbing.
Right, so that happens to one of the sons. So you begin to question, like, this must be bullshit. Like, I even leaned over to Julie when I went to go see it with her, and I said, I think that this twist is going to be that she's mentally ill. Like, this is all bullshit. And so he takes the backpack inside the house, and you see he's got food in there. It's a modern day backpack. It's like, there's no way this is the evil. The evil wouldn't know, like, oh yeah, I'm going to bung up a cell phone, a smartphone with 911. Like, come on. And so they finally have food. The boys finally have food for the first time. So he's trying to convince his brother, like, eat it. It's not. He's like, that's evil. You brought the evil into the house. Just eat it. And it's like Hormel chili. You know, he's just eating it. Yeah. Eventually, his brother's like, okay, fuck it. I'm starving, so I'm gonna eat something. And then he's like, oh shit, like, this wasn't real. Like, it was all my mother was sick. So he goes out of the house. They still wearing the ropes because they're like, I guess they're like, to them it's kind of like better safe than sorry.
Conditioned to it.
Yeah. So he sees, when he's going through the hiker's backpack, he sees a picture of the hiker and his daughter. It's this little blonde girl who's about their age, about 10. And there's a really good twist with this. So he goes outside and he sees his mother kind of like walking around in the shed. So now the boys are finally beginning to see some type of supernatural element to this. So you're like, oh shit, like, is this real, or is the kid meant to be? Because his brother still can't see anything.
Yeah.
So he goes out there, he finds a flashlight in the hiker's backpack, and then you see the girl come up behind him, and she's like, I'm looking for my father, like, and it's the girl from the picture. She's like, I'm looking for my father, is everything okay? Like, I don't know where he is. And then she sees Halle Berry's body in the shed, and she's like, oh, I'm out of here, like, you guys are crazy. Takes off running.
Yeah.
He follows her in the woods, but now the girl begins to go in circles and around the trees.
Right.
So he kind of gets tangled up.
Yeah.
And she disappears. He's like, okay, I know she's real. He untethers himself. He unties himself.
Yeah.
And that's when you see the hands climbing up the tree. And then it's really creepy how they do it, because in the background, he loses her for a second. In the background, you see like this kind of caterpillar-like girl climbing down the tree. And then she is able to touch him, like infect him. And you see it's like this like parasite-looking thing that goes down his throat. And goes back to the house, and his brother's like, what's going on? What happened to you? And that's when he tries to kill his brother, because he's been taken over by the evil.
Shit.
So he locks his brother in a room, sets the house on fire.
Jesus.
And now Halle Berry's like ghost is appearing to his brother, who wasn't able to see, who first questioned his mother's sanity. And she's like, it's okay. You're going to die here with me. It's fine. Like, and he's like, that you're not her. I don't care what you say. He opens he sets a trap for this entity. He opens the cellar doors where they have below in the cellar there's another intricate carving which the ropes are tied to, and every now and again Halle Berry would have her sons go down there and would close the door on them, just to kind of have like a moment with the house itself. And she would open the door. What'd you see? Oh, I saw. I felt lonely, but I could feel the house was protecting me. So he leaves the cellar doors open, and the entity, like, he steps in. He's like, yo, you can't hide down there. And he pushes her down there and, like, slams the cellar doors and, like, grabs onto her, which is, like, the evil. And she slowly, like, begins to morph into, like, this snake-like creature. And he's holding her down there. And he's like, no, that's not it's your time now. So he's, like, holding her down. And, like, the power of the house is, like, kind of compelling her to, like, kind of dissipate. And she does. And then the final scene is a helicopter, like a modern day helicopter, comes and rescues him. And he's like, oh, where's my brother? I don't know where my brother went. and he's on the helicopter with him. They're both like on these respirators, and he looks out of the window and he sees a modern day city.
Yeah.
So it actually was kind of bullshit that was an apocalypse and everything is gone. There wasn't. Halle Berry, we don't really know if she thought the world was gone or she's just trying to protect her family. But as it turns out, there was a supernatural element to it. There was an evil that was after them, but it was after the family.
Right.
In trying to get into the house, it wasn't over the entire world. Double twist, exactly. And then at the end, the final thing that his brother says to him, he looks to him, the brother who tried to kill him, and says, "She loved me more," and then that's when the movie ends. So so it's an interesting take on it. I really did like that. It's like midway through the movie, you're like, Halle Berry's crazy. The character's nuts. Like she's schizophrenic,
right?
And the twist is going to be that
unreliable narrator.
Yeah, the twist is going to be that like the kids are like, you know what, fuck, like we're starving to death. I'm just going to tie myself and I'm going to go.
Yeah,
and nothing happens. You know? And like again, very much like The Village, he gets a road and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, like from what you all completely describe it seems like a mixture of The Village and then that movie with Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, where he kills demons. He thinks he's killing demons the whole time. I forget the name of it, but
so what is the name of that movie? Yes, I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's got that vibe to it where you don't know if he's really killing demons or not, and then it's like okay, so
yeah, it was really well done, and it's kind of like it. Had you guys ever see The Skeleton Key?
Yeah.
It's
with the
Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig.
Not Kristen Wiig.
That's Skeleton Twins.
Oh, my bad.
Johnny Depp, right?
No. Skeleton Key. It's Kate. Anyway, it's that movie is about, she finds herself again in Louisiana in this like plantation, this old plantation style house.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like tied to voodoo.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of reminded me of that. Is like they never mention the word voodoo. They never mention any kind of specific belief or sect or mysticism.
Right.
But there is something related
to the snakes. And
to
like that.
To snakes and to like this house, because there's intricate carvings within the house, and every time the family leaves the house, there's I couldn't read what it said, but there's a carving in words on the wall, and they touch it every time they leave. It's like a protection, you know. Protect me house, you know.
When Halle Berry saw her mom, is her mom wearing any like voodoo?
No,
dress,
she's just wearing like a
because maybe she's the.
That's what I was thinking. So
curse.
So at one point, Halle Berry tells her sons like what happened, like. Your grandparents built this house out here for themselves. He built this. Your grandfather built this house for your grandmother, and one day your grandmother started to notice things there was something in the woods, and she wouldn't leave the house. So her father said, "Well, if you tie yourself to the house, you can leave the house."
Oh, so this is multi-generational.
Multi-generational, exactly. But the thing is, we don't know if the parents really saw something. Because when she sees her mother in the greenhouse, she keeps saying the entity or whatever this, but it's also I couldn't tell if the entity knew what had happened, but the entity tells like Halle Berry, like she keeps, bad goat. She's like slapping her hands like you sit in my chair, so I'm gonna slap you, and you put poison in my soup, like she was saying. So it's like, oh shit, and then the boys had said, Halle Berry did kill our grandparents. And they never explain what she did to her husband.
Yeah.
But he has, like I said, he has a hole in his back, so it looks like he got blasted by something, you know. And there's also scarring, like fresh wounds on his neck. So you something killed him, and the boys mention she killed our father because the evil touched them. So that's why when her son becomes untethered, she has her sons both kneel before the cellar doors, and she has a knife out, like this huge like blade, and she's like, say the words, and they have to touch the wood and say the word, because if they do that,
prove that they're real,
right? So and then there's a point where the brother's going to kill his twin, and he touches like the wood of the house, and it's like, hey, say the words with me, and he begins to recite the prayer they say, and that's when the brother swings his knife at him because he's been taken over by the so yeah, it's until the point where the brother, who is not a skeptic, sees that little girl in the woods crawling around. It's kind of like the centipede thing, and infects him. You're like, oh shit, it was real.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but the entire time up to that, it's like the kids can't see what they see. They never see anything in the woods. She does. The second that they untether themselves, she begins to see something. So it's like, why aren't the one of
Well, the kids scene. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so there's something not right here. Like, we're not sure what's going on. And everything kind of goes off the rails when the mother's about to shoot the dog. And that's when the kid's like, this is bullshit. Nothing's real. Cuts her rope. The dog luckily rounds off. I was like clapping in the theater. I was like, yes, she didn't kill the dog. Outstanding.
The dog got saved.
Yeah, the dog got saved. You see him in the end. He's when the kids are being flown out in the helicopter. You see the dog running after the helicopter.
That would have been cool if the dog came back and like morphed.
Right. So so they do mention that. They're like, how come the dog? Because the dog isn't tethered to anything. He's able to run off in the woods and come back. His name is Coda, the dog. And how come Coda isn't affected? It's like, well, because the evil doesn't care about animals. That's the explanation. Yeah.
It's like every zombie movie. It's like, why isn't we having zombie cats and shit?
Right, exactly.
Like, nah.
So
just humans.
So they do a great job of not delving into any, I guess, established like, local like magic, like voodoo or Santeria or something like that. But they do a good job of questioning, of having you question whether or not Halle Berry is just mentally ill or is it a real thing. And as it turns out, it's both. There's no apocalypse.
Right.
There's no other evil chasing anybody else down.
It's just a localized.
It's just
evil.
localized for the family. And but we never get a backstory of what is going on.
Right.
She
How
does
does
say
she meet her husband if she's tethered to a house?
Right. Well, no, this was before. So she shows her kids pictures of herself before they were born, and she's living. She has like tattoos all over herself. Like she was living alone. And in the picture, she's just like dressed in regular clothes and.
Okay, I thought it was like because you said the grandparents were also.
So the grandparents were there. Apparently, it's hinted the grandparents lived in that house, and Halle Berry and her husband came there because of what was happening in the world.
Okay.
But we never get a backstory of why specifically they came there or when this haunting started.
Right.
But she does hint at it when her son locks her in the green room. She says, "There's something I never told you. I brought the evil to this house." And that's when she's like, let me out, let me fucking out. She like starts kicking doors out, kicking the windows out, trying to get out. And that's when she sees her mother in the greenhouse with her and then slices her throat open. But so yeah, there's like little hints and it seemed the movie's pretty long. I think it's like a little over 2 hours long. So it might have maybe, they had cut maybe 10, 15 minutes. And it does seem like they cut more of the film out. Like some more of the backstories to like what happened in this family, why they're pretty much trapped in this house. And why they can't, what's the overall reason that entity's
I kind of like that they leave it open ended.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It didn't need an explanation for it. Yeah.
I hate when movies are like, well, the reason why this is haunted is,
The other great thing is that they only have 3 ropes. Now they can tie the ropes together to go further out.
Right.
But that's it. Like they don't have any more rope. Right. So the extent, they don't ever make it clear it's probably like a couple 100 meters or something like that. Because when the
long ass rope.
Yeah. When the hiker shows up, he says, "I have a truck 5 miles back. Why don't you come with me?"
Right.
And then you got to begin to question too, like, is this real too, or is this So there's another part where, and it seems like they leave this open ended, but it seems like it was real. In the beginning of the film, you see a skeleton in the woods that has like a red jacket, and Halle Berry tells her sons one time, the evil's always testing me. I was walking through the woods once and I found a little girl who had broken her leg in the woods and she was screaming for help. And she was right at the limit of my rope, which means that she thinks that the evil wanted herself to untie herself.
Right.
So she's like, but I didn't do it. I knew it was the evil to test me. And it went on for days of screaming and crying at this little girl. And then when I went back, she's like, the evil was so well detailed that she had even turned blue and she was beginning to rot. And this is why one of her sons begins to question her, like, well, how do you know it wasn't a real girl? Like, what do you mean? Like, why would it keep that girl out there for that long? Yeah. Well, because it was trying to test me. It was trying to have me look after that little girl. And you see the skeleton out in the woods. You're like, oh shit! Like
she just let
she let a girl die. Like, is this real? So real well done. Nice. It's a pretty tense story. It has a very creepy atmosphere. She also sees her father walking around. He's not as present. But when she goes out to like hunt and forage for things, you'll see her father kind of like trailing her in the woods, and she kind of like looks away. And so he has like chunks of his arm missing too, it seems. So you never get a backstory how she obviously poisoned her mother, apparently, but she also killed her father and her husband, but we never understand how.
Right.
Never tell us how. So yeah, it's like it's a good guessing game. And I thought I had figured it out. I was like, no, this is bullshit. Like she's sick.
Yeah.
She's mentally ill.
But it's always nice to be surprised.
Right, exactly.
How's the kid actors? Because usually
very
that
good.
can make or break a movie.
Yeah, no, they're let me look up their names. They do a very good job. They're probably, I want to say they're like 10 years old. Anthony B. Jenkins and Percy Daggs are the two kids. Percy Daggs is the one who's kind of questioning his mother, and then Anthony is the one who's believes. He's like a complete adherent to her. Like whatever she says is goes. And I like how they set up that dynamic too. Like one brother's 100% in with his mom, even when she wants to kill the dog. He says, "Well, I can do it. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it."
Yeah.
And then the other brother's constantly questioning his mother and is like, there's something not right here.
Yeah.
And you're not telling us everything, and we're gonna starve to death if we stay here. So there's a good dynamic between the brothers. It's they're night and day basically, in their beliefs with their mother. So
well, I guess they could do a sequel, since both the boys survived.
Yeah.
And like the ghost baby into the
Yeah,
city.
you could have Halle Berry back as a
ghost.
a ghost.
Yeah, it's a very well done film. I highly recommend it. It's a little long, but it's still great. I had a great time watching it.
Nice.
And I like to see new things. You know.
Yeah.
No,
And-
it's
and
always
luckily it seems like we can't really get like new franchises or new ideas with anything else aside from horror.
And I'm kind of mad about the trailer. Didn't really. I just watched it going like, oh, it's like The Quiet Place meets
Exactly.
Bird Box. Or,
That's that's what I thought going into. Yeah. But I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot because, like I said, the only place where we seem to be getting new things and new ideas is in horror.
Yeah.
You know, everything else is kind of like reboot, sequel, reboot, sequel. You know, so it's like, let me just see something a different
This was
idea.
streaming or was it in theater?
This is in theaters.
Oh,
yeah.
theater? Okay.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be on streaming pretty well. I don't know how well it did. It just opened this Friday, so we'll see how it does in theaters.
Maybe I'm gonna have to do a check out Transformers 1 and this one. Just
I recommend it. It's got a really creepy atmosphere because it's like you think it's like Louisiana swamp, but it's not.
Right.
It's like these very deep like woods. Very well done. So the budget was $20 million. Again, a very centralized story.
Right.
It's the house in the woods, and that's it.
and what did we learn? Don't live in the woods.
Live in the fucking woods, dude.
People, if your parents live in the woods, move out.
Yeah,
Emancipate yourself.
It's the box office so far is $4.5 million. That's this weekend. We'll see how it
That's
does.
not bad for. I mean,
Hey,
for a horror movie. That's pretty good.
And I
Actually,
think
Plus,
Halle Berry's
with
a
Halle Berry
producer.
being out of the limelight for a while, that's pretty decent.
her rate probably is pretty high. For
No,
$20 million budget, she probably got what four?
Yeah.
4-ish, 5-ish.
You know.
Yeah.
But still, like, I haven't seen a Halle Berry movie in how long? Like, the last thing I saw her in was John Wick 3.
Yeah, and she does a really good job in this film. Really good job of you begin to question her sanity.
Yeah.
Because she's very harsh with the boys. Like she's as you have to be in that kind of because they're foraging and hunting. There's very little room for error in their life because if they see it. They show it in the movie. Like they have a bad winter and their dog hasn't been able to get, which is another reason she wants to kind of use him for food because like he used to hunt rabbits apparently and now he's not doing a very good job with it. So it's like there's very very little room for error and they had a harsh winter where they weren't able to collect the spring prior to that. They weren't able to collect a lot of food. So now that spring is on them, spring-ish, they're running out of food.
Yeah.
So and she's very harsh to them. And you see them like at one point they're like eating tree bark because they're running out of food.
Jeez.
And they have like this like it's like a little vial of what looks like syrup. And I was like, well, it looks like they got honey. It's okay though. You can live off of honey. You know, it's pretty nutritious. And it's actually tree sap that they're putting on for like taste. And it's just like you hear them eating it, and it's just like they're like eating. Yeah, they're just like they're eating wood basically. Which there is certain tree bark that you can't eat, but it's it's tree bark. So they're
It's
just
not
like
the tastiest.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like able to fry it up and with like what looks like tree sap. I thought it was honey, but it turns out it's tree sap. And they're like eating this shit, and you're like, oh my god, because they're running out of. And they're also making tea out of pine needles because that's the only tea that they have. And like the inside of the house is she has a wood burning stove. She has a sink, but it's like a pump,
Right.
for like a well.
Yeah.
There's no electricity. It's just like holy shit, they're living a very Spartan life, and it's just the trees. I mean, the house is like covered in moss from how wet the conditions are there. It's a pretty rough existence. Like watching it, I was like, this is something out of like one of those like survivalist shows.
Yeah.
You know, you see like The Last Alaskans or something. You know, it's like, holy shit.
Like a foot away from the end of the rope is a McDonald's. They're just like,
Yeah.
They can't reach it.
The after credits, you see them sitting at a table getting a burger, and they're like, and then they see a roach come along and they put it,
put it in there,
like Aquaman.
Yeah.
the way every movie should end.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they're there's they're uncovering like they're taking like the bark off of trees, and there's bugs under there, and they're like collecting them
Yeah.
to
Good
eat.
eats.
Yeah, and they're grilling them up, and it's just like a lot of the movies them eating what they can.
surviving.
Yeah, to survive. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're just sitting at their table, and Halle Berry's cooking them these bugs, and at one point they have the last of their preserves, and it's just like a tomato, and she slices it 3 ways, and that's all they have to eat. So, and that's when she says like, oh, we might have to shoot Coda.
that's-
And so that's when the movie really goes off the rails. See, don't fuck with dogs. Don't eat dogs. They're eating the dogs, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's the last straw.
exactly. But yeah, check it out. It's pretty
Yeah, it
creepy.
sounds great, actually.
I think Halle Berry does an amazing job.
Yeah.
And she looks crazy half the time. So you're like, this she's losing her
Crazy hat.
mind.
No,
yeah,
just,
yeah. So
I'll tie myself to her. Hey.
whoa.
Bing bong.
Yeah, Never Let Go. Go see it. And then we also have, speaking of other horror movies that are coming out too, we recently had the news that Constantine 2's script has been done.
Yeah.
And they also released a poster for it, which looks interesting.
Yeah, he's got a longer hair and his beard that he's had now for a while
He's
from
been
the John
sporting
Wick.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm partial. Part of me wants him to be shaven, but I get it if the character is like, struggling,
Yeah.
whatever. And
I mean, yeah, if you can get the short hair Constantine look, that'd be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
no, I mean what? Because like,
it's far enough away from the comic book character
Yeah.
anyway. He's not a blonde British guy, so it's like
no.
do what
Right.
you
Do you think they'll keep letting him smoke cigarettes, or do you think they'll be more
want. Ooh.
controlled with that now? Because
I don't know. I think they.
It's such a big part of the character.
For a
Yeah.
minute, they were kind of pulling back on the cigarette thing, but
Yeah.
now it seems like they've opened it up. Like
Okay.
more filmmakers are
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah. Because, I think kind of like that was a backlash to the actual cigarette issue we had
Right.
in
Yeah.
the United States. But I think that's pretty much been won because there's very few people smoking cigarettes nowadays.
Yeah.
he'll be
So,
vaping
yeah.
now.
Yeah, or something like that. He probably will. Yeah. if you
I hope
have a
not.
vape,
I hope
yeah.
not. He's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't taste as real.
Yeah, are you guys going to check it out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
like they've, a little backstory. They did initially greenlight Constantine 2 before the big DC shakeup,
Yeah.
before James Gunn.
But it wasn't Keanu, right? It was like,
No. It was going to be Keanu
Oh.
because he was like, "Oh, I'm ready to do it," and they were like, "It's gonna, again, it's getting greenlit." And then obviously James Gunn took over, and they were like, "Okay, anything that was on the plate is just kind of getting pushed off." So because they didn't know what the state was going to be, and like now it's like, it feels like now they've got this kind of nice balance of like we can have stuff that's connected
Yeah.
to our main universe, and we can do movies like Joker and the Batman and Constantine 2
yeah.
that can just be on their own thing.
Yeah.
We don't need a multiverse everything.
No, that's true. That's like goes back to the thing with, Matt Reeves' thing. It's like, I don't need other heroes in
Right.
this.
Yeah.
This is Batman. So leave it alone.
It'd be weird if you suddenly have a Green Lantern
Yeah.
show up.
And I'm excited for Constantine too. But the main thing I would love to see again, even though if it's just one scene, I need to have Peter Stormare return as Satan.
He
Yeah.
Lucifer.
was fantastic.
So good. And I
just like the one little scene.
yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
How he
kills
pull the stuff out of his lungs.
Yeah,
too.
the
That's-
cancer out, yeah.
And I just love how his feet were covered in tar. So
Yes,
every
I love that
step
too,
he-
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
man, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I think that was the best devil on for me.
That's
On
straight out of the
devil.
comics
good.
too, with the white suit.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
everything,
so good. And he had like a kind of a black.
like tattoos thing going
Yeah,
on.
it was- yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, yeah,
It was,
definitely
it was very, very well done.
bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see where they go with the concept.
Was Shia LaBeouf? in
Yeah,
it?
yeah, he played.
Do you think
the-
he'll be back?
He gets
Maybe
killed
not.
in it.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Oh, you're
He
right.
becomes an angel at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So I mean, maybe make
yeah.
big Shia's come back.
Maybe Rachel Weisz will be the
Could
new
be.
Shia LaBeouf or something.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, that's
He's usually a loner anyway.
Yeah, you can pretty
Yeah.
much just recast that, or not recast, but just start with a whole new cast in him.
True.
You know, there's comics where he's just a homeless guy.
And
Really?
Yeah.
what's and also oh my god, the black actor from Gladiator, he was the one who like helped him get into the Netherworld.
Damon Hunsu?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I bring him back too. I want
Yes,
him back.
Yeah, he was
Papa
great.
Midnight.
Yeah,
Papa
yeah,
Midnight.
Papa. Yeah, that was his name. Papa
Midnight.
Midnight. Yeah.
Who was in the Batman Cape Crusader show?
Oh,
they
he was?
had in the Gentleman Ghost episode.
Oh, cool.
That was Papa Midnight.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, it's good to see that character.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All right.
Because I thought that was going to be Constantine when he's like, I know a specialist for
Oh, really?
Supernatural. I was like, oh, it's going to be Constantine. And I'm like,
Papa
I was
Midnight.
like, randomly Papa Midnight.
That'd have been sick.
Maybe
That'd
that's a
have been
setup.
sick.
It's
Yeah.
coming.
And then we recently watched the Mickey 17 trailer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Starring
Batman
Robert
himself.
Pattinson?
Man, it's
Yeah.
just it's themed.
yeah.
'Cause we just had Batman Day yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And
What'd you guys think of it?
I think, it looks fun. It looks interesting. But I get a mixture. It's like an inkling of Moon. The movie
I was
Moon.
totally
I
going
was
to bring up
thinking
Moon.
Moon,
But
too,
also the Tom Cruise movie Oblivion.
Yeah. A
Because
little
that-
bit of
yeah.
that
I mean,
aesthetic.
Because that also brings in the whole cloning thing as
Right.
well.
Right.
And like something being kept from them.
Yeah.
And that's in both movies, Moon and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
Oblivion.
and,
So
and
I
the
was
big
just-
part they don't really do a lot in the trailer is like it's very spy versus spy. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's the whole point is like if you clone yourself, only one can survive.
Yeah.
You can't have multiples of yourself.
Right.
So it does kind of become like a him versus him
Right.
Mm.
storyline. you
Yeah.
know?
So the trailer is this person signs up to be an expendable.
Right. So he
And-
wants to get off world. He wants to get off
Yeah.
Earth. He signs up to be an expendable so they, as human beings go into space and explore more, they need people to go out first and test out areas.
Right.
And be, in dangerous spots.
Yeah.
And, every time he gets injured or dies, they can just clone another one.
Yeah.
Right.
And, it's Patterson doing a very kind of dim-witted, dumb
Yeah.
guy,
Uh-huh.
like just very everyday guy who's just like, oh, I didn't read the instruction manual of
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
Would you say that it's very, even though it's Bong Joon-ho,
Yeah.
do you think it's kind of a sense of like Terry Gilliam-esque?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
with Time Bandits.
Yeah.
With who did 12 Monkeys? Was
That was Gilliam.
Oh, that was Gilliam.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Gilliam with that type of like Bruce Willis, just being
Right,
the
right.
main experiment there.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost got like Fifth Element vibes almost from it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's an interesting feel, and yet again, I'm like kind of blown away with Patterson's like choice of movies.
Yeah.
No,
he's
he's been knocking it out of the park.
Right, and like
yeah.
obviously, it's like it's probably a director he really wants to work with.
No,
Right.
the cast in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on some of the rest of the names, but I was like, yeah, I think after Parasite, everybody wanted to hop on Bong Joon.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
And
excited
good for him
it.
for
It
getting
looks
all
good.
those A-list actors in
Yep.
there. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mickey 17. We're gonna check it out.
yeah.
And then the last thing we should go over is we just got word that we're doing 20. They're gonna do the third part of the 28 Days Later franchise, where it's gonna be 28 years later.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Jesus.
we got word.
Feel
that they're-
old yet, fellas?
Yeah, seriously. And
20 million.
Yeah. 28 decades later.
then they shot it on an iPhone apparently,
Yeah.
which is okay.
They used the new. I think it was a 15, iPhone 15
Probably
or something
15.
like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that it might be easier with that. You don't need to have all this bulkier equipment to move
Yeah.
around.
yeah.
But like,
And
also,
Apple's been touting that for years. You can
No.
shoot movies on our phones.
Yeah. And, like, it's
and
been-
it's not
it's
the
been-
first one that's been done. that's
no,
done
yeah, it's been done before. It's just like, did you need to though? Like, if this movie is one of the people using their phone as they like, is it a found
It seems
footage?
like it's a found footage thing. Yeah.
I think found footage was early 2000s.
Yeah.
Although it's cool.
Yeah.
If you do it well enough, I will be fine. But like if it's the same stuff, I'll be like, oh, let me turn on my night vision mode on the camera,
That's-
and
yeah,
like,
that
just,
feels
I roll my
very
eyes
old.
at that. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, get out of here.
I mean, I love Danny Boyle, and I like that he's experimenting still with the style. 28 Days Later was one of the first films ever shot digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his cinematographer just ran into like a Best Buy and bought whatever cheap digital cameras they could, and just strapped him to poles and stuff like that. They did a lot of like guerrilla shooting for that.
Right.
So I feel like if it stays in that vein, if it stays in that kind of feel, I'm all for it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think they're gonna do a follow up to 28 Weeks Later, but I'm for it. I'm for it.
Did you like that one?
It was okay. I mean, it definitely wasn't the guerrilla style format that you mentioned.
Well, that wasn't Danny Boyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Directing,
it was a very professionally made movie. I mean, I think that the the way that the virus got re-released was ridiculous. Like, this guy knows that there's something up. He survived the pandemic here, and that wiped out humanity. And then he kisses his wife. Like, there's obviously something not right. Anyway, so
she had bites on her.
Yeah,
I mean, looking back at it now with what we've gone through here, it's like, well, I can see.
That's true. There's always some dumbass.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
There's guys that won't wear a mask. Yeah.
Well, there was I saw an Instagram reel of this guy who's just like, he's a hiker or whatever, and he finds a cordyceps tarantula that's been taken over by the cordyceps fungus.
Oh yeah.
From The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And it's got the entrails coming from it.
Yeah.
And he's like laying right next to it. Oh, check this out. This is a cordyceps from Last of Us, and look how interesting it looks. He's like a foot away from it.
Let me just suck up all these spores.
Right, and so everybody in the comments like, hey there, brother, how about you step away from that? Like, hey, let's go ahead and quarantine this guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here it is, patient zero.
Yeah. Because
we say there's always one dumbass.
Right. Yeah. Because we're like, it won't affect us, but.
Well, no,
exactly, that one.
Yeah.
There's one strain.
There's been reports now that a lot of them are surviving the higher temperatures. So I was like, just stay away.
Yeah.
How about we do a little slash and burn to the mushroom area, huh?
Yep.
It's good for the crops.
So 28 years later, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Danny Boyle's back, so I'm really interested in seeing.
Yeah, and Cillian Murphy, the whole cast is kind of back from the first one. So
that's gonna be great. Yeah.
Well. Obviously, except the ones who died.
Brendan
Gleeson.
I know. I'd love Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson was so good in that. Yeah.
But Naomi Harris, I believe, is the girl in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's back.
And wasn't there a little girl with them?
There was. I don't know who
they all survived in the end there. Yeah.
So
and then they killed the doctor. He was Doctor Who. Chris Eccleston. Chris Eccleston. They killed him, so he's obviously going to be not around.
Yeah.
But it should be interesting. I'm eager to see where they go with that.
Yeah, like how much of the world is, because it seemed like it was pretty isolated to England.
Yeah.
They cut off England as. Yeah. So I wonder what the.
But because then 28 weeks later we saw it spread to Paris.
Yeah.
Do you think
the rest of Europe?
I wonder if that's canon though. I wonder if they're still gonna.
That's a good question.
Consider it,
or if it's just they're just gonna skip over the second one.
Do you think though, it's more likely they'd be in London still, or do you think they would be like maybe come to America or?
Well, yeah, the plane that spots them in the end of the first one, I believe it's like from the Netherlands or something like that, really? Right? Like it's got I forgot what tags it has on it.
Yeah,
but it's not from England.
Yeah,
so I think they probably are in Europe somewhere. But why? Maybe there's a reason they come back. Maybe there's like the cure is in the middle of London again or something. I don't know.
Could be it.
Yeah.
Like as long as there's a good story and a good reason
for it
to happen. I don't want to Cillian Murphy to look at camera and be like, "Here we go again."
He's like just strapping on his.
He's like he wakes up out of another hospital. Huh?
Yeah. No, not again.
So this is what you have to Oppenheimer. He just does a schlocky money grab movie.
Hill music starts.
He's just running around.
Yeah.
That's not what we expected.
Okay. Real different vibe this time.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got. A lot of good stuff that came out, and hopefully you guys check it out. So,
yes.
Do you want to take us out, Chad?
Yes. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. If you aren't already, please like, subscribe, share, comment, Yes, follow us on all the Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
Don't forget to rate and review
Rate
us
and-
on
yes.
your Spotify and
Apple Podcasts.
Podcasts. It does
Yes,
help
yes.
us. It helps the algorithms.
Indeed,
and
it
gets
does.
us out there.
And as we always say here, enter the nerddom. It's good. It's better, but it's the best.
Sure, that'll work.